I haven't thought about Eddie in years, and I really don't care to stroll down memory lane. Just the idea of reliving everything that I had thought was behind me. I need a minute. I wasn't expecting it. I need a minute. Okay, I can do this. Most people looking from the outside in always say, oh, why did she stay? Why did she put up with that? I would have never put up with that. Guess what? I said that kind of stuff too. I'm gonna make something clear, okay? I didn't know that he'd be capable of something like that. If I did, I wouldn't have been with him. I wouldn't have given him the chances that I gave him. I had no idea that he was the monster that he was. This was my senior picture from high school. I was so young. This girl didn't have a clue about anything. I had a normal life. Very strict Southern Baptist. Do the right thing and love people. And forgive people. I really didn't have a care in the world. It's kind of funny how things can change. My friends and I would go dancing, love to go dancing. That's actually how I met him, Eddie. I thought he had pretty eyes and he was a decent guy.
I know. I miss you too.
He started calling me and telling me he was 22. Like a week after we started dating, I got a dozen roses.
Beautiful. I have them right next to my bed.
It seemed like he was madly in love with me. I learned that he had a child, but he was going through a divorce. He said he was a recovering alcoholic, but he was, making changes and wasn't going to screw up again. Hey, it's getting late.
Okay, Eddie, no, I have to go.
That's who I saw, was the new man. I didn't know what was going to happen. Definitely not prepared for what was going to happen in my next phase of life. An abuser has a lot of work to do if they're going to control the victim.
Pleasure meeting you too, Ed. Take care.
Yeah. Take care. Yeah. They have to get you to a place where you don't feel like you can survive without them.
What'd you guys think?
Honey, why don't you come on in? Sit down.
And the first thing he needed to do was get me away from my parents. My dad didn't approve. He felt I was too young for relationships anyway.
I think he might be a few years too old for you.
And my mom legit hated him.
Your father's right. I don't like that boy. I don't like him one bit.
Mom!
She just felt like something is wrong with this guy. And when she tried to talk to me about it, things kind of got heated between us.
There's something not right about him.
Well, that's not a good enough reason.
I felt like she was being unfair. He hadn't done anything to make her feel that way. I was pissed. I felt like my parents were treating me like a child. And I wasn't going to be treated like a child.
Trust us on this one. There's something wrong about him.
No.
Eddie felt like I'm 18, my parents are too strict. They shouldn't be that strict with me. I should be able to do what I want.
You want to be treated like an adult. You gotta act like an adult.
You just need to move out then. Why don't you just move out?
Tell them you're your own person. Do what you want.
I just don't know if that's a really good idea.
It'll be really nice. You have your own place. Do what you want.
I just was like, well, fine, I'm moving out. I can do that because I'm 18. So I moved out. And I moved in with a friend closer to where Eddie lived.
I mean, I guess I could. I do have some graduation money saved up.
He was absolutely instrumental in my decision to move out because he wanted control. He wanted control. I know that now. I was feeling like, wow, this guy really, he's into me. Around the time his divorce was final, he withdrew.
Hey, it's me again. Just calling you again.
Nothing. He wasn't answering my calls. He fell off the face of the earth.
I hope you're okay. Bye.
I was hurt, disappointed, pissed off. I just thought I got used and played, and I need to be smarter about who I hook up with.
Hello? Hi, Eddie.
All of a sudden, he called me out of the blue and wanted to talk. And he sounded very, emotional. And then finally I agreed to meet him, and we went for coffee. And I was like, okay, talk.
I don't know what to say. God, I'm so sorry.
He was explaining how, he was coming through this divorce, and he was having feelings for me, then has this kid, and has effed up his life, and he's scared, and he was very vulnerable.
I love you. I want to be with you.
He was, in my opinion, wounded, and I felt like, I can help him not be wounded. And my heart softened. So we kind of got back together.
You ever forgive me?
And that's, really when things started taking off. Years later, I found out the period that he disappeared was when Sheila Holmes was killed. He knew her. He actually babysit her kids. The police knew that it wasn't a robbery because she had all of her money in her pocket. She was strangled on the railroad tracks. I was getting sick, morning sickness, and I found out I was pregnant. At first I was scared, but I was also kind of happy. I thought his reaction would be, you're pregnant, oh my God, and he'd pick me up and hug me, what you see in the movies.
I have to tell you something.
What is this? Is this a joke?
But he immediately was just like, you're gonna get rid of it. You need to get rid of it.
I said, what is this?
I'm pregnant.
Oh, no, you're not.
It was like a switch, when he said it. He was, hey,
To me.
you're not gonna trap me. I'm already raising a kid. I'm not doing this again.
I can't believe you. You're like every other woman in my life.
And he was calling me a few names. He was a totally different person. Shattered is an understatement. I felt like I'd been gut punched.
I'm not gonna let you ruin my life.
But I was pissed because I wasn't expecting that reaction.
Eddie, stop it.
I was like, oh, hell no. This guy's not right. And I'm getting out. I was in my first trimester. One night, it was around 2 in the morning, and I get out of my car and I saw a shadow, and I was looking, and as I got closer, I saw that it was Eddie.
Eddie?
I told you.
And then he raised the gun and pointed at me and said, get in the car. We're going for a ride.
Get in the car. Driver's seat.
Eddie, please put the gun down.
Take care of that kid right now.
I told you to get rid of the baby. and you didn't listen. And so now I'm gonna take care of it. I'm panicking. I'm like, Eddie, you don't have to do this. I don't want anything from you. I just kept telling him over and over again, I thought you loved me. I love you. Why are you doing this to me?
Eddie, please.
This is your fault. Go.
He directs me to where I need to drive. We were driving, and it's like a ghost town. We pull into the park. It's quiet. There's no vehicles. There's no people. And he said, this is where I'm going to do it. This is where I'm going to do you in.
Walk into the woods. Don't look at me. Eyes forward.
He's behind me. He's got the gun in my back. And there's a tree, and he stands me up against it. He goes, this is it.
Eddie, please don't do this.
The way he looked at me was like he hated me. Absolutely hated me. And wanted me gone. I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna die. He was raising the gun on my head. It was on my head. I felt it.
This is your fault.
I closed my eyes. I pleaded for my life. I pleaded for him not to kill me. Please, no. God, please don't let him kill me. Protect me, protect my baby. And as soon as I said that, I could see the light.
Hey, Rochester Police, come on out of there.
There was like this rush of relief that the police were there. His back was towards the police, and he lowered the gun and he says, if you say anything, I'm gonna get out on bail. I'm gonna blow your parents' house up. He kind of hid the gun and we started walking towards our car. I wanted to scream, help me. He's got a gun. But all I could think of was, he's going to kill my parents. I was paralyzed. I just couldn't get the words out.
What are you guys doing back there? Just enjoying the night?
He said, we're just enjoying the evenings. And the cop was like, well, you're gonna have to enjoy it somewhere else.
All right, well, the park closes at dusk. Why don't you get on out of here?
And he rushed me into the car. This scared him. And I saw another side to him. I saw the vulnerable, scared side, as opposed to the angry, violent, volatile side. And he's like, Robin, I'm so sorry. He's like, you know I love you. I'm so sorry.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
I didn't call the police. I was scared that he would come after me or somehow come after my family. I moved in with my parents and I left him and just wanted to put it behind me. Shortly after I moved back in with my parents, Eddie started going to church, and he seemed very convincing.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do any of these things.
Eddie had no problem turning on tears. I know I messed up, and I'm sober again, and I love you so much, and I want to be in that kid's life. And he wasn't going to really kill me. He was just, upset and trying to scare me into having an abortion.
I wasn't gonna do it. I couldn't do it. I love her so much. I would never hurt her.
Eddie often used drugs and alcohol as an excuse as to why he shouldn't or couldn't be held responsible for what occurred while he was using.
Is it the drinking, Eddie? The drugs?
Yeah, I'm sober.
You are crazy.
Jesus forgives those who truly want to be forgiven. And you find it in yourself to forgive Eddie.
But people from the church were like, Jesus forgave us, and we need to forgive others. Here I was, an unwed mother, and the child needed his father.
Eddie is prepared to change.
I needed to forgive him. It was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. So I reconciled with Ed. We moved in and we started preparing for the birth of our first child. I look back sometimes and I wonder, how I could have been so dumb. But I know that I wasn't being dumb. I know that I was being naive. Eddie's a master manipulator. We started going to church together. The pastor was giving a sermon on forgiveness.
If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness.
During his sermon, he actually said to the congregation, we have somebody here that's murdered somebody.
A member of our own congregation has confessed that they have committed a murder.
No, I'm not going to say who it is. It's not important who it is. All we needed to know was that God forgave him. Which the congregation kind of gasped at. Everybody kind of was looking around and nobody had any clue what he was talking about.
He knows the wrong he has done and seeks forgiveness.
Was definitely kind of thinking to myself, well, oh my God, who could that be? I was a little creeped out, but Eddie didn't act like anything was wrong. Now, when I look back on it, Eddie probably confessed to the pastor that he had killed Sheila Holmes, knowing that the pastor wouldn't violate that privilege. But at the time, I don't know the context, so I quickly brushed it off.
I ask you all to reflect and seek your own salvation.
My son was born in March of 91. When our son was born, he actually cried and just kept saying to me how beautiful he was and how awesome I was, and thanking me for bringing our son into the world. But one day he was feeding my son. I was pregnant with my second son. My son was like babies do, spitting it out of his mouth and making a mess. Just out of the blue, he snapped. And he started yelling at my son. It was horrible. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? He's a baby. He hauled off and hit me, like upside the head. And I hauled off and hit him right back. And there was like this change in his eyes. If you could have seen his eyes in that moment, here's Eddie's dark side. The next thing I remember, he grabbed my throat pretty hard. He is going to kill me. He grabbed my throat pretty hard. All I could think of was like, I can't breathe, but my son crying in the background. I needed to get to my son. And then I just kind of remember things going kind of fuzzy. I passed out.
Robin, are you okay? Robin.
The next thing I remember, I was like waking up.
Robin, please. Robin?
He was on his knees. He was leaning over me. And he was like crying, wake up, Robin, please wake up. Please wake up. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
But I wasn't buying into it. Everybody has their breaking point. He had pushed me to mine.
Away from me. What do you mean? Get away from me.
I told him I was going to divorce him. I wasn't tolerating it. I wasn't tolerating anything.
You think you're leaving me? You're not going anywhere.
And he laughed at me and said, go ahead and divorce me. I'll get visitation with the kids every other weekend, and you'll never know which weekend they won't be coming home.
And then you'll never know if you'll see your kids again.
I wasn't expecting that reaction. It was like, when he said this to me, my heart sank to my chest. And I was like, oh my God, he's right. He's absolutely right. I knew that I had no choice but to wait for him to slip up. And I knew that it was only a matter of time before he was using drugs or alcohol again. And I knew that once he started using again, that there would be no way for him to get weekend visitation with my kids, thereby protecting them from being kidnapped. I had no choice but to wait. After I gave birth, Eddie would start disappearing, or he wasn't where he claimed to be, and wasn't coming home when he was supposed to be coming home. One night, he stayed out all night, and I knew he was out using. I knew he was. And I was like, okay, this is my chance. This is my chance to protect my kids. The next morning, I called the police.
I mean, we're in a domestic disturbance call.
The police came in, and I said, he's been out using all night, and I'm afraid because when he uses, he's violent.
He's been out all night, and the kids are here, and I don't feel safe.
He pulled in, and I let him come in the house.
What's going on?
He admitted to being out all night using coke.
This is over.
What happened? What's
You
happening?
have to leave now.
Leave? What do you mean? I live here. Can somebody explain this to me?
And I said, you need to get him out now because he's capable of anything. He has kidnapped me at gunpoint. He has strangled me. Please get him out of here. I'm scared.
You have to leave right now.
You are never coming back here.
Eddie was crying, and I can't believe you're doing this. Can I at least have my stuff? And I had already packed his stuff in a shopping bag and threw it at him.
Get out.
You gotta leave right now. Let's go.
After the police got him out of there, I moved back in with my parents and sought a restraining order against him. As far as I was concerned, our relationship was over. This was right after my youngest was born. They were so little and so cute and innocent. They had no idea what was going on. He would come over for supervised visits, and I needed to be cordial to him, and I needed to co-parent for the sake of my kids. I didn't really have a choice. New Hampshire courts are very big on best behavior and doing all the things that Father of the Year should be doing.
Look at this, eh?
But on one of his supervised visitations, he appeared and had this horrific tattoo on his arm of claws ripping skin.
Eddie, what is that?
Oh, this?
It really creeped me out. Gnarly looking claws, talons almost, just ripping through the skin. Explained that he felt like it was the demons trying to claw their way out.
You know, I got this tattoo in here. That's how I felt tonight. Coming out of you. Yeah.
I thought he was trying to symbolize his battle with drug addiction.
Never since. Yeah, that was in me. That was all evil that was in me. I feel this evil's always in me.
Now I know that those demons were a lot darker and deeper than I could have ever known at that time. It was his way of letting me know that he was there and that he was watching me. Once Eddie realized that I was not backing down and that I was going through with the divorce, I had tons of moments where I felt unsafe. He was famous for calling me in the middle of the night and calling incessantly.
Hello? Eddie, you can't call here.
He's like, you know you can't get rid of me that easy. And I was like, what are you talking about, Ed?
God, Eddie, I'm gonna wake the baby.
And he's like, I know everything you do. I know every move you make. And he started describing what I wore to work that day. And he would tell me, I better watch my back.
Eddie, what are you talking about?
He would never come right out and say, you know, I'm going to hurt you or I'm going to kill you. But he would say things in a way that would lead a person to believe he had me kidnapped at gunpoint. It's like the way he was saying stuff. And I was like, you know what, Ed? It's late. Stop calling me. It's a violation of the restraining order.
It's too early in the morning for this crap. Okay, no, don't call back.
It sucked, you know, living, like, always looking over my shoulder. It sucked not being able to sleep. But I was sticking to my ground. And I called the police. Eddie was actually in violation of the order several times.
Yes, I would like to file a police report.
But they couldn't violate him on the order unless they actually caught him in the act. Despite having this restraining order, he still came around. He still was making his presence known. One day, when I went out to my car to go to work, I noticed that there were a bunch of his brand of cigarette butts around my car. I don't know where he actually was or what he was doing. All I know is it was his way of letting me know that he was there and that he was watching me. I felt like he was always around. I could feel him watching me. I began carrying mace, and I was constantly looking over my shoulder, and always a nervous wreck, and always looking at my seat, and just afraid. Who wouldn't be? I didn't know what he was going to be doing, but I was terrified that he was going to do something. One day, we were coming out of the pizza place, and I saw him.
Robin? Rob, I just want to talk to you.
No, I'm
Just let me see my
Hey,
kids.
you have a restraining order. You can't be here right now.
I know.
He was trying to talk with me, and I was like, I'm not. Nope. I was furiously trying to get my kids in the car, and I was like, you know, I don't want to talk to you. I need to leave.
Just a couple of minutes,
No.
Robin.
And you have to leave.
And as he was getting closer to me, I could see he had like 3 distinct claw marks, scratch marks down his face. I thought it was peculiar, but I figured that he was on one of his drunken drug benders and he had gotten into a fight. When I got home, I immediately got out my visitation journal and I started writing in it that I had ran into him and that he had claw marks on his face so that I could have documented evidence that he was not fit to have visitation with the kids. It wasn't until a year or more later that I realized that that weekend visitation that he missed was the same weekend that Carol Caswell was murdered. Those scratch marks were probably from Carol Caswell. I still cannot, to this day, 20-some odd years later, wrap my mind around it.
I told you to get across the phone. She could look. She won't believe you. She had enough. But you wanted more.
Hello?
One day, my mom called to tell me that Eddie was in the paper for a violent assault on his girlfriend and that he had been arrested.
What page is it on?
It was very serious.
Let me call you back, hey?
I wasn't surprised. I knew that if he did what he did to me, he would do it to somebody else. I felt pity for his girlfriend. And when I had found out that he was sentenced to prison for 10 to 20 years, I was relieved that he was going to prison and that I wouldn't have to deal with him for at least that long. A few months after he had been sentenced for the assault on his girlfriend, a couple of the detectives from Dover and Portsmouth wanted to meet with me and interview me.
We just want to know about Eddie. What he's like. What he did.
They wanted to talk to me about my relationship with him and the things that went on. And so I recounted to them my history with Eddie.
Wasn't he already convicted?
This isn't about the assault.
I thought they just wanted to know about my relationship to prove that he was a violent person.
We believe your ex-husband.
My ex-husband was under investigation for the murder of Sheila Holmes and the disappearance and murder of Carol Caswell. I was in shock. I had no idea who these people were. But I learned from the police that while Eddie was assaulting his girlfriend, he made threats to her that he was going to do to her what he did to Carol Caswell.
And I know a couple weeks prior to that Friday. Who we talking about, Caswell? Carol Caswell?
He hooked up with Carol Caswell at a bar, went to Willen Pond with the lure of partying and doing cocaine.
Did you try to ask that? You lied about it. Is that why she was freaking out that you wanted to say? Once you wanted to leave me, you had enough of me. But you wanted more hours away.
He toyed with her a little bit about, if you can swim, you can live.
I told you to get across the pond. She did love. So she was kind of trying to swim away from you? Huh? She was trying to swim away from you. Get away from you. Yeah. And what happened? Explain that. Was too fed up?
I guess he doesn't black out as much as he claims to black out because he remembers some details.
So what happened then? Drag onto the water. Kept right up to the water. Kept under the water. How'd you go under the water? With my foot. Why was your foot on her head? And you just stood on her head for how long? Just maybe. How long do you think? How long? That could be probably a couple months.
That he could talk about it so nonchalantly like that. He's talking about it as if it's instructions on how to drop a transmission or bake a cake.
You put her in the trunk. What you do next? And go somewhere and marry her.
He was that cold-blooded. This is Carol Caswell and her daughter. He took her from her child. She loved her mother. And he stole that. He stole that from this little girl. She didn't deserve her ending. He murdered her in cold blood in the most... This is my ex-husband. Life in prison for brutally murdering some innocent person is not justice. Justice would be that he suffer and die. Eye for an eye. He was under investigation for Sheila Holmes' death. But once they knew they got the conviction on Carol Caswell, and he was going away to prison for life with no parole, so what's the point of wasting the state's money? To this day, it is technically considered an unsolved crime. But Ed knows what he did. And so does God. Sheila Holmes was killed around the time that he was going through his first divorce. And Carol Caswell was murdered around the time that we were going through our divorce. Did he kill Sheila Holmes as a misplaced aggression for his first wife? And did he kill Carol Caswell as a misplaced aggression for me? Nobody except for him knows. But Sheila Holmes was small-framed and had dark hair. And his first wife was small-framed and had dark hair. Carol Caswell was a full-figured gal, like myself, with light hair. And it just kind of strikes me odd that there are those similarities. He thanked me for taking his call, and then he proceeded to apologize for everything that he had put me through, and asked me for forgiveness. I decided that I needed to give it to him so that I could let go of it and have some freedom in my life. Forgiveness is not a free pass. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. Forgiveness is letting go. When the conversation was over, I felt closure a little bit. Like I could breathe again. And I just went on with my life. I went to college and got my degree in domestic violence and advocated for people. What I would hope is that they would understand that the lie that's rolling around in their head, that they would not be able to survive without the other person, that they wouldn't make it, to recognize it as a lie, and that they absolutely can make it without the abuser. Get the hell out and do whatever you have to do. You can start over. You have to get out. You have to. And yes, you can. And you can make it.